So today we're gonna go through the basics of grading. Just a quick highlight. There's lots of detail when you're grading, when you're looking for pelts. I'm gonna put a copy of this in the video here. But basically, when we're grading, we're looking for different defects in the fur. So a defect can be not properly handled, too much fat, too much grease, caught early, right? The pelt's not prime, it's flatter. Colors are off. Some things you can't control. You can't control the coyote once it's in your trap, but you can control when you catch it. So you can affect your price by catching a later animal that's more prime. The color, you can't control that unless you're foot holding, then you release odd colors. So the grades we're going to go through today, it's going to be selects and number ones. Those are the top end of your coyotes. We have a couple here we'll get towards the end that are going to be number ones for sure, selects maybe, ones and twos. That's generally what we catch in my area for decently handled coyote in the middle of December to January. They're going to be ones and twos. A good twos is just a few more defects, open flanks. You catch that a little bit later on in the season. Average twos, so you're getting more into the colors and open necks and rubs and good damage, meaning it's not affecting the overall pelt, but it could be a little defect here, a little defect there. And then you got your number threes, so that's the bottom end of the spectrum. And then once you go below threes, you got your threes and fours, and that's basically no value. No sense of you even handling those animals. Those are the animals with mange, bad shoulder mites, that were shot and blown up in half, and you can't take care of it properly. Belly slip, all kinds of things that you're losing a bunch of fur and the quality is not there. So as we run through it here, I'll just kind of show you random coyotes. We'll start off at the bottom end here. So right here, so what I have is a coyote. It's got rubbed shoulder mites. So it's not as bad as others I've seen, but you can see it's rubbed, right, not down to the leather, but all the guard hairs are starting to disappear and the under fur is gone. Really don't know how this is gonna show up, but we're gonna maybe zoom up in on it so I can show you. But you can see how I go like this and there's no fur in this section. This is open here, right? Otherwise it's handled fairly well, right? Its ears, cartilage is removed, the bottom lips taken off. On the belly side, so it's got a dark belly, some dried blood. Really just spend 5 minutes with a brush and clean up your coyotes before you bring them. For myself, I really take pride in my fur handling, and when I'm grading animals, coyotes, I'm looking how well the pelt is handled, because that's going to give me indication, like if it's shot and you didn't remove any grease, it's going to be something I'm going to hone in on. You can cut the legs a little bit shorter than this. That's got some red belly, just because it's got the shoulder mites. I usually find if they got red belly, there's something else going on. Maybe starting to get mites or mange. And then the leather on this one, it's hard for you to see, I'm sure, but it's a little bit of an early coyote. It's dark leather in there. So that's what I'd grade as a 3 and a 4. I'd say no value because of the color, the shoulder mites, it's open, it's got a terrible belly on it, it's kind of flat, so not a lot of value to anybody. Once you handle a coyote like this, send it into auction. Some guys are hoping for $5-10, but you have to think of how much it's cost to get that animal there. The fur buyer or the auction house has to ship it, buy it, people have to run around, grade it, inspect it, put it into lots and stuff like that. Then the auctioneers have to auction it. It's a whole lot of work for nothing. And for the $5 that you're going to make on that, you're better off to go out and catch another coyote or go shoot a coyote. Here's another coyote and another one here. This one's a little bit open, doesn't have shoulder mites, but it's flatter. It's a flatter coyote. It's got a bad belly. So again, this one would be a number 3. I wouldn't downgrade it to no value because there's some fur there, just a little bit more open. and it's handled properly, right? The cartilage is taken out, the tail is split, but they could have spent a little bit of time and just combed out that little bit of a grease and fat in the bottom. Again, it's a little bit of an earlier coyote, just a little strip of dark down the back, but this is all this coyote was going to be. And here again in number 3, this one's a little bit better than the other ones, although it doesn't really look it. The color's off a bit, but it's denser fur. The belly's a little bit better. Here they could have brushed out some of the blood along with what's on the face here. That would have cleaned it up a bit better. But it's got longer guard hairs, denser fur. It's a good number 3 in my books. So an average 2, what we're gonna get into here is something with a little bit, not a really light coyote, a little bit redder, right? Handled properly, a little bit earlier, but it was shot and they didn't bother to brush out the blood. They did sew the hole right here, right in the armpit, which is fine. Not a lot of damage to the pelt there, but the color's off and it's a flat coyote, so that's what makes it an average 2 to a 3. Getting into our good 2s, not as furred up in the neck. It's got a little bit of an open flank here. Not sure if that's showing up. That happens just from the springtime and temperature changes. When they're bedding down, they get up, they open themselves up a bit, pulling the guard hairs out, and it gets a little bit more woolly. This one is a little bit of an earlier coyote. Color's kind of an average color for our area. The belly's a bit of an average color. Let's look at some other coyotes here. So this one here is an average 2. It's got a bad belly. It's furred up okay. It's got nice thick hair here. Just the color's off and a little bit woollier on the side, so it's kind of between an average 2 and a 3. I'm tired of showing you all the lower end stuff, but we're working our way up. So here, this coyote, it would show a little bit better, right? Always remove your ear cartilage. I know this is the old way people used to do it. Just remove your ear cartilage, makes it present a lot better. This one here, it's a decent coyote. It's furred up fairly well. A little bit coarser hair. But right here, when the guy was fleshing it, didn't bother to take the blood mat out. It's not shot, it's not sewn. It's just when they're fleshing it, it might have touched the floor or something like that, and they didn't bother to brush that out. So I'm not going to give them all that much credit and bump them up to the next grade, because I know if they slack off on something like that, there's going to be possibly another issue there. But it is a big coyote, lots of fur. Here's another example of a decent coyote, right? It's a little bit open in the neck, so it's still like a 2. But here at the back, there's fat and blood here. They didn't bother to brush that out. They just let it dry, so it's a matted mess. Looking inside, there's a few stitches in there, so maybe it was shot, and that's the exit hole. But the belly's off on it. Furred up okay. It's a semi-heavy. It's not a heavy coyote by no means. But something like this, I downgraded it because I know there's a little bit of damage there. If you brush that out, take care of it, you're still going to get downgraded. It's going to present a lot better and it help your averages. Here's another example of a coyote that's like a 1 and 2. A little bit semi-heavy, it's starting to prime up a bit, but it was shot on this side here, no exit hole, but they didn't bother to brush out the blood and the mats. there, so they got downgraded. Otherwise, it's a pretty decent coyote. It's fairly full, right? Not flat. So we have some other ones here. We're gonna show you here. So the face is scrunched up on this one, just because they took it off the board too early and the face wasn't dry. So as it dried, it scrunched up. So fairly thick. So it's a little bit semi-heavy to heavy. This one doesn't have too open of a neck. Color is a little bit darker on there. The belly is a little bit darker. So I'd still put it in the 1 and 2s. It's not a good 2s where it's open flanked, but it is open a little bit on the sides, so it's right in the border there. So this coyote, it's a heavy coyote, right? Nice and thick here. A little bit open on the belly on the one side. Not sure what happened there, but it's a decent looking coyote. They did the ears properly. A little bit scrunched up from being in the bag. And fleshed out in its prime. Some of the nicer coyotes here. So we're going to keep working our way up. So this one here, the cartilage is removed. The ears are pinned back. They could be pinned forward, but really doesn't matter. So this one is a 1 and 2. A little bit semi-heavy, but the color is good. The neck is good. The belly is good. And it's prime. So we're getting into the better coyotes here. And being a fairly new buyer, I'm seeing that I have some of this stuff that was caught early. And now we're starting to get into the better coyotes where they're more prime, more full. Again, here, this one's getting into a heavy coyote, nice and dense fur, nice and thick, right? So we're 1 and 2 right here. The belly a little bit darker, but not as bad as some of the other ones where it's all brown here. And it's fairly light, nicely furred. Just trying to give you guys a bit of an idea what we're looking for here. So here in this pile, properly handled coyote, the legs again can be cut a little bit shorter. And it's a semi-heavy, not fully prime, but everything's there. Color's not too bad, not a dark brown, so it's fairly pale. Belly's not too bad. We won't go through all of these. Some of these I just threw up here just to kind of show you that kind of an average coyote. But the person didn't bother to brush it out a bit, right? And you want it to present pretty good. A little bit of slippage in the belly, looks like. And this one was shot on the side, you can tell, because they didn't bother to clean that up. So probably that's why the belly slipped, it tainted a bit. Pulling the rest of the hair, it's good. It's just low by the crotch. But just, again, spend a bit of time removing the bottom jaw, cleaning it up, make it presentable. Here we have a really nice coyote. This is what I'd say is a number 1, right? Nice and primely furred, good belly, even fur density all the way around the belly, around the back, and up. It's a really nice coyote, this one. So this one would be a number 1 in my book. So I'd pay you a little bit more for this because it's handled properly. It's a prime leather. They fleshed all the fat off, so it's not going to slip or taint. Another nice coyote here is this one. Another, you can just see how thick the belly fur is. That's a good indication that they're getting into really prime, into your number 1s and number 2s heavies. And semi-heavies, before it gets heavy, it's getting into the thickness and the primeness. Once it's prime, it becomes a heavy coyote, and it's not the weight of it. We've had people ask that before. It's actually the density of the fur. Hairs per square inch. The more you have, the denser the fur is, the heavier it is. This coyote here is a number 1. Nice clear belly, well furred all the way around. I paid a bit more of a premium for that one than I did for the other ones. Just keep running through them here, just kind of show you. Here, this is a dark coyote. You can't really control that, the color of it. It's in your region, your areas that you trap. I've trapped different areas where I have more pale coyotes, it's more genetic. And then other areas have more dark coyotes. And to me, when I'm trapping, I'm after numbers, and my numbers work into averages. So the more coyotes I can get that are prime increases my value. I'm not talking dollars with you guys. Like, I'm not saying right now our selects are worth $120 or $300. I'm just talking to you about grades, because grades are going to be the same year to year. Economic value or value of the pelt changes year to year depending on market. I get that a lot. Guys are saying, "Oh, what's my coyotes worth?" Well, I need you to tell me what grades your coyotes are. Then I can give you an approximate price. Until I look at it, I can't really say, because there could be defects, and there could be no defects, and you could have the top lot coyote. Kind of think of it as when you're trying to sell a used car, you're gonna clean it up, you're gonna at least wash it. You're not gonna show somebody your vehicle you're trying to sell and just roll in for mud bogging and say, "Oh no, it's all highway kilometers." You're gonna want to present the vehicle just like your coyotes the best you can, brush them out, make them very presentable, make them smell good, and then the buyers are gonna work with you, right? So this coyote here is a heavy coyote, you can see. They could have spent a little bit more time cleaning it up, I think, removing the ear cartilage for sure. But just on the bottom end here, spend a bit of time. So this would be kind of one of your darker ones and twos here. It's got a good fur density, it's just the color's off a bit. This one's a semi-heavy. It's coming in, it's got the nice belly fur, but it's not real dense. Like, the guard hairs are good, but the under fur's a little flatter than the other ones. It's hard to explain. Maybe I can put a comparison here. So if you compare them, right? This one's got primer fur. This one's got the guard hairs, but doesn't have the under fur. And I'm not sure if that's showing here. So when you do this, it's spotty, it's not full. The guard hairs aren't being held up by the under fur. So it's telling me it's a semi-heavy. The color's nice, right? Had this coyote been caught another week later, it probably would have graded a little bit better to a heavy, not a semi-heavy. And what the market's after is the heavies, not the semi-heavies. There you go, another semi-heavy. You can tell it's got good belly fur. It's just not really dense, right? It's just starting to get there. So we shake it out to show that density of fur, because you're going to want it to stand up. If it's greasy and all that, then your fur is not going to stand out, and you're going to get docked for a lower grade. Belly's not all that bad here. Nice prime coyote. The leather's nice and clear. They did a good job. Ears are done. Cartilage is removed. Just a little bit flatter coyote there. We're getting into a little bit of a heavy again. Kind of puffs it up. You got your good back fur there. Really running through a pile of these coyotes here. Here's another semi-heavy, probably back here. I thought it was a little bit open, but it's not too bad. But it's just a flatter coyote, so you're gonna get downgraded to a good 2 to a 3 because it's flatter, and color is good. It's got no rubs. So I guess this one would be like a good 2 to maybe a 1 and 2, just a little bit semi-heavy. Here's another prime coyote. Right here, color is not bad. It's a lighter coyote. It's nice and it's heavy. You can see how all that hair stands up. Right? There's no rubs. It's uniformed pelt. Belly's good. Lips are removed. Ears are done. That's a nice coyote. So that's a 1 and 2. This one here, a heavy 1 and 2. Here again, another nice coyote. You can tell it's prime. It's just a little bit of black right there, so it's just coming into prime, but it's really well furred. So I'd say it's prime. This is a good prime 1 and 2. Nice heavy. Wouldn't go number 1, but it'd be pretty close. You can see how full that is there. Just doing a little window shopping. So kind of rolled you through most of the coyotes here. Again, this one, let's grade this one. We shake it. You can see it's not as full, as thick as this one here. Right? Side by side. You can see this one's a lot thicker. This is a semi-heavy. This is a heavy. Right? Colors are fairly similar. This one's a little bit darker. Ears could be pinned forward, but it's still not a bad coyote. It's just a semi-heavy, so it drops your value. You want them prime like that. Again, just compare it. Just this one here. Even this one's a semi-heavy. It's not quite as full as this one, right? So it's still coming in. Colors are very similar. Very similar between these two coyotes. The bellies are very similar. It's just this one's got some more fur. And you can feel it when you touch it. You grab up across the belly and across the waist, and you can feel the density difference. You can just run your fingers down, feel that. And that's the difference there. We'll try and do a few more of these videos. You guys can ask more questions, and we can see if we can answer it for you. Again, grading is a little bit of an art. I'm finding. I've always had a good idea what a prime pelt is and stuff like that. Until you start looking at lots and lots and comparing them to each other, then you learn how to grade your own fur and learn from there. And don't be surprised by some of the prices. When I'm working with the guys, I pick out their best coyotes and some of their medium coyotes, and we work out a price on that. Their lower end coyotes, I ask them to grade them. I say, help me pinpoint what's going on here, and let's work on something, because what we like to do, or I like to do, is work off averages, right? But if you have a coyote that's worth $5 and the rest of your coyotes are worth $80, $85, that $5 coyote, if you're really wanting to sell that and you're going to tell your buddies what your average was, that's going to bring your average way down. If you're willing to exclude that one and take that one home because it's really got no value to me, and we want to buy fur, right? That's what we're in business for, is to buy fur, but we need to buy marketable fur. We just can't buy any fur, and if we can make it marketable, what I do is I take this, I pay for it, pay you for it, you're happy. Now I have to bring it to my guy, and my guy has a market call or an order for it, a certain amount of volumes of certain qualities, right? And I don't want to go cherry pick all the good coyotes and leave all the terrible ones out there to go to the auction or whatever. I want people to be happy. I want them to get their funds right away and go out and enjoy themselves and do more trapping. I can't control what the market is, but you guys can control how you handle your pelts and when you trap your pelts. And then when you bring them to me, I'm going to try my best to reward you for your hard work to within reason, right? I can't overpay for something because I won't have a job next year. So it's a give and take, and you have to keep everybody happy, and that's my goal. And that's why I'm trying to show you guys the difference between semi-heavy coyote and a heavy coyote and different handling techniques. So again, here's another semi-heavy, not a bad coyote. It's average color, right? So this one's probably semi-heavy, 1 and 2. There's no open flanks, no open neck, so it's a decent coyote. Again, just want to thank you guys, and I'll put a copy of this up, and you guys can go ahead and take a look at it. And I might try and do another video here, depending what your comments are, and work off of that. I just kind of give you quick highlights, and I don't know how it's going to turn out on camera, but we will work with you guys and try and get you the best price we can and help you grade your coyotes. So when you come to us, you're going to have an idea or ballpark of what you're getting. All right, catch you later.